All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless Dave here, talking about real music in real time for a few real people out there just like you and just like me. All right, going to be talking a little bit about the excesses of rock and roll, a bit of a different subject today in this particular video. Mitch Malloy, this guy defies aging, and he seems to be living a healthy lifestyle. I think he is antithetical to the normal rock star. This is his brand new album, and I got it yesterday. Notice the autograph. Notice the guitar pick. Yeah, that's an actual guitar pick that is stuck to the CD. I mean, this is great marketing. And Mitch Malloy, a guy who hasn't really aged a whole lot in, I don't know, like 40 years or so. So that would be another question that someone should ask him. Say, hey, Mitch, what's going on, dude? What are you doing? You're going against the grain with the rock and roll lifestyle. And I did an interview with Mitch where I failed to ask that question. I may have been joking around a lot in that particular interview. And I know he did an interview with Modern Retro Radio as well. You can go listen to that, modernretrofm.com. And they're playing music by Mitch Malloy over there. All right, the last song, go over to mitchmalloy.com, order yourself a copy, patronize the artist, because folks, they need our help. The ones who aren't getting any airplay other than Modern Retro and a few great internet stations out there who understand that this particular genre, this melodic rock, just good old-fashioned rock and roll genre is fading away, much like the people in it. Did this video about Elton John this morning, and I'm going to be talking a little bit about Kiki D, if you remember her, and Don't Go Breaking My Heart, which I'm pretty sure I had the 45 when I was, I don't know, 11 years old or something like that. But this article that I stumbled upon, I think, is very interesting about the rock and roll lifestyle. This was from a couple years ago. According to a new report, rock and pop stars die young. Many of them die from drug overdoses, AIDS, or drunk driving accidents. The study found that the average lifespan of American musical stars in pop, rock, and rap genres is only 45 years old. So Mitch Malloy is 61 years old, so he's doing something right, obviously, and he looks like he could be 45, if not even younger. Now get this, the average European stars die on average at age 39. The scientists published their findings in the British Medical Journal. So if you think I'm just throwing out numbers here for, clicks and views, talk to the British Medical Journal. There are many examples of stars dying young, and it's hard to pin down exactly how many years a star's life is cut down when he or she becomes famous. However, scientists can show how much higher or lower the chance of dying is compared to a similar person in the average population. So if you're watching this and you're not a rock star, you should be happy that you're in the average population. A North American pop star 40 years after fame has a chance of survival of 87% of what is actually expected in the general population. So 13% lower survival rate. Mark Bellis and his team reviewed the lives of nearly 1,500 rock, pop, and rap stars. Details were gleaned about their deaths, personal lives, and childhoods from websites, biographies, and anthologies. During a 50-year period from 1956 to 2006, 137 of the stars, about 10%, died. Solo artists were twice as likely to die before their time as someone who played in a band. A band is kind of like a marriage. The problem is a lot of those marriages break up. Age and gender didn't affect life expectancy, but ethnicity did. Non-Caucasians were the most likely to die at an early age. Many died of cancer and cardiovascular disease, which could be the result of living a hard life. The younger a star died, the more likely the death was a result of risky behavior involving drugs, alcohol, violence, or suicide. Half of those who died as a result of these factors had at least one unfavorable factor in their childhoods, like child abuse, domestic violence, or a close family member with mental illness. 4 out of 5 dead stars with more than one of these childhood experiences died from substance abuse or violently. This is not good. Fame and fortune encourage stars to throw caution to the wind. It could also be that risk-taking and wild behavior predate fame as a way to cope with a difficult past. Careers as rock or pop stars might be attractive to people trying to escape an unhappy childhood, but it could also provide the resources to feed a predisposition to unhealthy and risky behaviors which might not be so easily available to other people. Musicians playing in bands live longer because their bandmates help buffer the negative influences, and they also provide emotional support. This research was done about 10 years ago in the British Medical Journal. And since then, I think things have gotten worse because there's been another substance that was introduced into the world, which I think was basically a mandatory thing, and I do mean thing, for people in the music business. Now, Kiki D, remember her? Don't Go Breaking My Heart, hanging out with Elton John, who just wrapped up his supposed final concert. She says, I wouldn't have been able to cope, and she reveals what saved her from the dangerous excesses of the rock and roll lifestyle in the 1970s. Legendary pop star Kiki D, 72, that's when this was done, I think she's 76 now, has spoken candidly about surviving the heady days of pop music in the 1970s. Of course, she had a huge hit with Elton John in 1976, but managed to dodge the dangerous indulgences that ensnared so many of her contemporaries. I think everybody in the 70s put their toes in the water. I saw it all. I just wouldn't have been able to cope with it, she told the Daily Telegraph. She added, I've always been the kind of person from a young age where I've got a delicate constitution. I like what she says here. I need a good sleep. I need a nice cup of tea. I have always been like that. It saved me because I'm a delicate flower. So because she has this delicate constitution, she didn't get involved with the excesses of the rock and roll lifestyle. Things could have been different for the UK-born pop star, as she had numerous hits in the 70s with songs including I've Got the Music in Me. When's the last time you've heard that song anywhere? That was a huge song in the 70s. She was the first white British artist to sign with Motown in 1970, and enjoyed a hit in 1981 with the song Star. And it just goes on to say her career was fairly successful, and she was doing a lot of session work and was very much in demand, but she avoided, how did she avoid the lifestyle? Well, she didn't get involved in it. She basically went home, had a cup of tea, and went to bed early. That's kind of what I do these days, right? People say, you're going to go to this concert? I'm like, are you crazy? You know, the 4-hour concert, Paul McCartney and Bruce Springsteen trying to battle it out for who can play the longer concert. And I'm thinking to myself, you know what? Yeah, I don't want to be on the road at 12:30 at night trying to navigate back to where I'm supposed to be. I'd rather be in bed enjoying a good night's sleep. And prior to that, maybe a cup of sleepy time tea. So good for Kiki D. She's still around, 76. She's the exact same age as Elton John. Look, Elton John's still around too, even though we know he has pretty much pushed the limits of excess. But these days, you've also got to worry about that other factor that was introduced, 2 years ago that nobody wants to talk about. And if you do talk about it, you're a crazy conspiracy theorist, even though another article came out and someone sent it to me about all case mortality for 2021 and 2022. These are events that would only happen once in like 1,000 years. So it's just, a coincidence. So you've got the rock and roll lifestyle, you've got these great pharmaceutical products that are available and mandatory, right? For those of you who had to go out there on the road. I know a couple of people that did it and said, look, I had to earn a living. I'm not this upper echelon performer who can just sit back and wait and just draw off the savings account. I completely understand where they're coming from. It's sad that they were made to do that, especially with what we know and what we knew then, but people refused to listen. I was one of the few people saying that Gene Simmons needed to, shut his pie hole. Same thing with Dee Snider. Dee's kind of a weird character. He's out there saying he's a moderate and so forth now. So good for him. At least he has some sort of independent streak, which is really rare in these days. So before I go, Mitch Malloy, this is a really great album, people. I've been a friend of Mitch Malloy's now for a couple of years at least, maybe longer than that. He had a lot to say to me that I really can't say, I can't talk about. I'm going to write a book someday. Someday, I'm probably going to write a book. No one's going to believe me. Nobody believed me when I said I knew this person or that person or had a conversation. People will reach out to you eventually, even if you're not begging them to do an interview. That's the good thing. When they reach out to me, I'm like, hey, that's cool, because it's not like me getting down on my hands and knees saying, please be on my show. I mean, if you want to come on the show, that's great. If not, that's fine too. I've learned to live with both outcomes, and I think I do decent interviews. I have conversations. I'm not asking the same boring questions. I'm just going with the flow. So most of the time that works pretty well, except when I get tongue-tied and I've run out of things to say, in which case we wrap things up, and then people will judge for themselves if it was worth watching or not. Again, I want to thank all the patrons on the channel. We've got new patrons coming on board. I still need your support. The algorithm is stuck. I am at half of what I once actually earned for doing what I do, and I do it almost every day. I take a day off now and then. Typically on the weekends, I'll take a day off, and then I'll come back with extra content during the week. Some weekends, I just put out stuff every single day if I find things that I want to do, or that I think the people who watch this channel might want to listen to. So yeah, if you can help me out via Patreon, also YouTube memberships, and check out Modern Retro Radio. I'm over there talking every so often. I may be doing more voiceover stuff for modernretrofm.com, so you can check me out over there and put all the videos on an endless loop. I'm pretty sure that the algorithm, though, picks that up and says, no, you can't get credit from this guy who's watching your video 1,000 times. That's not going to fly with us. We know what's going on. There's a lot of AI out there that, shall we say, is onto it. So again, watch the videos, like the videos, share the videos, complain about the videos. Yeah, I know I'm a really big topic of conversation in certain chat rooms, especially in the so-called melodic rock world, which I think I probably do more to promote than most of the people that are in the chat rooms, okay? You can see all the CDs behind me. I'm constantly telling people about new stuff that's coming out that I enjoy listening to and you should check out. Even if you don't like my recommendations, at least I'm doing it, The genre is dying, and as we just heard in this particular video, a lot of the rock stars, yeah, they're going away too, unfortunately. If they're not retiring, we've already lost them, or they're going out of commission. And how much longer can this go on? I think I, again, saw this article the other day, 14 bands that are retiring, or 14 different artists that are on their farewell. Um, it's not good for the genre. So, in any event, folks, thanks for watching. A little bit long-winded at the end there. God bless you. God bless America. And, God save the world. All right? All right. See you soon.